Hey everyone, welcome to the Hornet King channel, and this video is brought to you by I don't get paid to say dumb things about products that I don't care about and pitch them to you.com. And in this video, I'll be removing a massive eastern yellow jacket colony that decided to make its nest at a client's house. This is actually the second nest that I had to remove for this client this season, and I was happy to come out and remove not only an eastern yellow jacket colony, but a southern yellow jacket colony. This removal video is of the eastern yellow jacket colony. Here's the video, check it out. I'm the Hornet King, and I removed some incredible and insane wasp nests. So this client contacted me because they were getting tons of yellow jackets in their basement. They couldn't tell where they were coming from, so they called me to come and see if I could find where the nest was. So here I found it above the ceiling tile. I noticed outside there was tons of yellow jackets flying in around a spigot, going into the basement wall. So I went downstairs, popped off a couple of the ceiling tiles, and located the nest. This thing was an eastern yellow jacket colony, and eastern yellow jackets make some of the smaller nests that I deal with here in PA, but their colonies can be absolutely packed in these smaller nests. So this particular nest had well over 5,000 yellow jackets in it, and they were super sensitive. The second I started vacuuming, they were everywhere in this cavity, and they were latched all over my hands, my veil, and even on all the parts of my suit, trying to get into my suit. So I'm doing vacuuming up here, and I'm doing damage control to get as many of the yellow jackets out of the nest as I can. Now, preferably, get them out of the nest and get them into the vacuum, but once they're flying around a space like this, that they're attracted to the light, so they start flying to the flashlight, so I start vacuuming them up there. But look at my hand, just absolutely covered in yellow jackets. And I do get a better shot of that. You can see what it looks like. They were all over me. Yeah, right here, you can see there was well over like 50 yellow jackets all over my hands, both of my hands. And unfortunately, this was kind of an awkward situation, kind of reaching up into the ceiling cavity to get to this nest. See, I don't really show it too well in the video, but there was actually a little bit of a gap between the basement finished wall and the block foundation wall. So I had to be really careful I didn't drop my phone or my flashlight down in between that gap, because I'd be making a cut in the drywall to get it out. So I just continued vacuuming here for quite a while. I do cut out quite a bit out of these removals. People think, oh, it goes pretty fast, these removals. It only takes me about 20 minutes or so. But that's just because I edit them down pretty good. So I spend quite a bit of time doing this. Vacuuming them off of my gloves, vacuuming them off my suit, trying to make sure that I don't get any inside my veil, which does happen. So I do a lot of this stuff. It does take some time. So usually for an indwelling nest removal like this one, usually takes about 45 minutes, almost to an hour, depending on how big the colony is. But since this was eastern yellow jacket and the colonies are a little bit smaller compared to, say, German yellow jacket, it didn't take me quite as long. So I think this removal took me about 40 minutes. But again, just doing damage control, try to get as much of the yellow jackets off my suit, because I really don't want them climbing through. Well, you can see that little flap right at the bottom of my veil. That flap covers up two zippers that come together, and sometimes eastern yellow jacket being a smaller species, they can get in between those zippers and get into my veil. And I've had that happen, and I actually, in this particular removal, I did get a yellow jacket in my veil, and she stung me on the top of my ear. Happens every so often. So people ask all the time how many times I get stung when I do removals. I don't get stung that often, so I do about anywhere from like 7 to 11 removals a day, and I do that about 5 or 6 days a week during the busiest part of the season, and I maybe get stung once every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks or so. So not that often. It's not like every day or every removal I get stung, and I get stung a bunch of times. Like, it really doesn't happen that often. But I would say the most common times I get stung is either southern yellow jackets, eastern yellow jackets, or bald-faced hornets. So pulling the nest out of this cavity, it's funny, like when you're seeing it with all the envelope on it, looks huge, like the size of a basketball. But then once you remove all that envelope and you see that the actual heart of the nest, all that comb, is a little bit smaller, and it's really just because yellow jackets pack so much into these little dense populations of comb. So there was about probably 5 or 6 layers of comb here, and it was just absolutely packed with larvae and pupae. So separating the layers, you couldn't really see right there, but I actually just sucked up the queen. She was in between those 2 layers there. And in between, that's usually where the new workers and the new guards and things hatch out, and they kind of stay in between the layers of comb. They don't fly. So when I separate these, I'm just trying to get them all vacuumed up so that when I do separate them to give them to the animals, there's not any active yellow jackets that could fly and sting my animals. So going back into the cavity, you can see there's some insulation, some batting insulation up there. So I kind of remove everything, try to get as much of the rest of the comb and the envelope out of the space as I can. You can see here when I pull the insulation down, you see where the copper pipe goes through the wall, and that's how they were entering into the space. So once I finish up there, I just spray a little bit of spider and scorpion spray around that, and that just keeps new foragers coming back from foraging going back into the space. And whenever I do a removal like this, especially in a basement where there's not a lot of lights, the yellow jackets go right to the windows, and that's easy for me to just vacuum them off the windows. So once I get the nests home, I give them to my animals, and I dump out the vacuum here on my compost pile. Alrighty. Dump out the vacuum. There's the contents. Everybody asks.
Show me inside the vacuum. Show me inside the vacuum.
Alright, there it is. Dump it out, bonk. Wanted to see if we could see a queen in here. Probably not.
Got something for you, Squirrel. Come down here and eat it, Squirrel. Oh, what a good Squirrel. What a good Squirrel. Did you make that mess, Squirrel? Come here and nibble it, Squirrel. Nibble this nest, Squirrel. Oh, what a good Squirrel. Oh, what a good Squirrel. Are you a good Squirrel? Are you a happy Squirrel? Are you a larva-eating Squirrel? I love your tail, Squirrel. What a nice squirrel tail, Squirrel. Eat lots of larvae, Squirrel. Oh, is that a juicy one?
All the nests. Bald-faced hornets, as you can see on there on the wall. Eastern yellow jacket, southern yellow jacket, European hornet, another bald-faced hornet, eastern yellow jacket, German yellow jacket, and another eastern yellow jacket. So this southern was in the ground, baldy was on the side of a house. That was in the ground. That was in a shed. That was in a tree. That was in a bathroom wall. This is in a boy's ceiling. And this one was in a bedroom wall. So I'll be feeding all these to the animals tomorrow morning. And all that in there.
stinky birdie. You're a stinky birdie. Oh, stinky birdie. Oh, Rhea-the-Rhea.
All right, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to check out this video. If you guys enjoyed this content, drop in the comments, let me know what you think. If you have any suggestions for future videos or something you'd like to see me cover in an upcoming video, also drop in the comments, let me know. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so and hit that bell notification. That way you guys get an update anytime I do post a video. All right, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to check out this video and supporting my channel, and I'll catch you on the next video.